Do you remember our conversation about Taiku?
Oh yeah, the Talmudic concept. What about it sparked your interest again?
I'd like to discuss the second Taiku.
The second Taku. I'm intrigued. What's special about this one?
We talked about the first Taiku, which occurred on page 8a, and the second Taiku occurs on page 25b.
Fascinating. What's unique about the second Teku on page?
It talks about the prohibition of praying near feces.
That's an interesting topic. How does it relate to prayer?
It's forbidden to pray near feces.
Kaich, why is that rule important in Jewish practice?
Because prayer needs to be in a respectable place.
I see. That makes sense. How do people ensure they are in a respectable place before praying?
But making sure that there's no feces.
Kadded. Do people check the area before praying then?
This is relevant at a different time in history. These days it's not such a relevant issue.
Oh, I see. How has modern plumbing changed this issue?
Well, back to the Taiku, it's found in the Talmud of Tractate Brachot 25b, and it's 25 lines from the top of the page, and the eighth word into the line, and it says, Abaye said a small amount of feces may be nullified with spittle, which means you can cover it with spit, which is kind of nasty, but anyway, as long as it is covered, it is permitted to recite Shema. Rava said this applies specifically when it is thick spittle, okay? A little too much information here. Rava said, feces in a hole in the ground. He places his sandal over the hole to cover it and recites Shema. Mar, son of Ravina, raised a dilemma. What is the halacha in a case where feces is stuck to his sandal? Perhaps he would be considered filthy in that case? Let this dilemma stand unresolved. Taiku. What do you think?
Wow, that's quite deep. Sounds pretty messy. Do you think these old rules still have relevance today?
I don't think they're relevant today, but I'm interested in why it was important to know if feces is stuck to a sandal. Why couldn't he just take off the sandal?
Good point. Why do you think they didn't consider just removing the sandal?
That's what I'm asking.
Fair enough. Maybe there's a reason we're missing. What's your theory?
What do you think?
Could it be about not touching the sandal? What's your hunch?
Is there a way to take off the sandal without touching it?
Maybe with a stick. But why go through the trouble?
If it's forbidden to touch it with one's hand, would it still be forbidden to touch it with a stick?
Interesting question. What do the texts say about indirect contact?
I haven't seen any commentaries on this, but I'm interested in the topic of this being the second Taiku.
Kadded. What's significant about this being the second Teku?
Do you remember the first Taiku?
I'll reply in a second. First, I'd like to ask you, Would you like to subscribe to Call Annie Super? It comes with access to more features and unlimited call time. Yes, it was on Peja. What connection do you see between the first and second Taiku?
What was the first Taiku about?
Wasn't it about the timing of evening prayers?
Close.
Ah, my mistake. What was it about exactly?
It was about leaving during when the Torah was being read.
Oh, right. How do you think that relates to this second Taiku about feces?
I thought it's interesting that the first is talking about leaving during when the Torah is being read, and now we're talking about feces, and I think it's quite a contrast, don't you think?
Wow, that is quite a contrast. Why do you think these two topics were chosen for the first two tekis?
The Torah is something that is holy, sacred, and held in high esteem, and feces is something that is quite the opposite, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. It's like opposite ends of the spectrum. What do you think this contrast signifies?
It's a little bit hard to explain at this point. I'd have to take some time to think about it.
That's fair. What aspect intrigues you most about this contrast?
Like I said, I'll have to think about it.
Got it. What topic should we chat about next?
I think that'll be all for tonight.
All right, thanks for the chat. Sleep well.
You too.